Okay, let's unpack this. Um, you know that feeling when you're scrolling through Instagram reels or stories, and suddenly you hit a video where the cuts are just kind of clunky?
Oh, yeah,
Like
totally.
someone just chopped things together, with a dull knife, and the subject awkwardly jumps around.
Mhm.
It instantly pulls you out of the moment.
It absolutely does. Yeah, it
Yeah.
breaks that immersion, makes the content feel, well, disjointed.
Right.
Even if the underlying idea or the footage itself is great, that lack of polish just makes it less effective.
Exactly. And I think we all secretly wish our own videos could just glide,
Yeah,
from one scene to the next, feeling effortless and like professional.
definitely. Especially when you're trying to grab attention in those crucial first few seconds on a visual platform like Instagram.
Hmm.
It's tough.
So, what exactly are we getting into today? We are taking a deep dive into how you achieve exactly that. Mastering those smooth, seamless video edits, specifically for Instagram Reels and Stories.
Hmm.
How do you take your clips from potentially jarring to genuinely scroll stopping?
And the source material we're exploring today is a really practical, step-by-step guide focused entirely on this.
Hmm.
It promises actionable, creative strategies without burying you in, like technical jargon
Yeah.
or demanding expensive gear.
Nice.
Yeah, it's designed for pretty much anyone who wants their Instagram videos to look and feel more polished.
Okay, so our mission in this deep dive is really to pull out the absolute most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from this guide. We want to give you a shortcut, sort of, to creating those fluid, eye-catching Instagram videos that really stand out in a crowded feed.
And, while we're talking about giving your Instagram content an edge,
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for proven growth strategies and premium tips to really skyrocket your impact on the platform, you might want to check out rapidboost.net.
Oh.
It's a resource that can help you boost your social media profiles and, drive some serious growth.
Okay, definitely something to explore then for boosting that profile visibility. Good tip. But now, back to this editing guide. Think of us as your guides here, going through these notes right here with you. I'm here with the enthusiastic curiosity, ready to highlight the cool techniques.
And I'll be bringing the more sort of analytical perspective,
Mm.
helping connect the dots and figure out why these specific approaches make such a difference. We're exploring this material together,
Yeah.
just like you're in the room with us.
So, before we jump into the how, the guide touches on why smooth transitions are so critical for Instagram content. It feels like it's more than just looking nice, right?
Oh, it is, fundamentally.
Right.
The guide really emphasizes it boils down to engagement. I mean, in a space with incredibly short attention spans.
Yeah.
Those jarring cuts, they just disrupt the viewer's flow. Smooth transitions keep them hooked, maintain attention, and encourage them to watch longer.
Ah, okay. So it's not just aesthetics, it's actually a practical tool for holding on to your audience.
Yeah.
The guide mentions some research suggesting professionally edited videos are significantly more likely to be shared.
That's right.
So that engagement boost is like a direct result of that polish.
Exactly. And beyond just viewer attention, seamless editing significantly impacts your brand perception too. Sloppy edits can unintentionally make your content feel, well, less credible.
Makes sense?
Polished transitions signal professionalism, care, mastery. The source points to creators who've built huge followings, partly because their editing is so slick it becomes part of their signature style.
Yeah, it helps tell your story better too, doesn't it?
Oh, crucially, yeah.
Or
They aren't just decoration you kind of slap on. Done well, transitions can clarify your narrative, control the pacing, and subtly guide the viewer's eye,
right.
making sure they follow your story without getting lost or confused by like abrupt changes. They maintain the rhythm of your communication.
Okay, so the why is pretty compelling. More views, better brand perception, clearer story. Makes total sense. So, where does this guide suggest we even start to achieve this seamlessness?
Well, what's interesting is the guide actually starts before you even open an editing app.
Hmm.
Yeah, with planning. It stresses the importance of selecting the right clips and having a clear idea of how they need to connect before you shoot or edit.
Like knowing what goes where ahead of time, thinking it through.
Precisely. Thinking about visual continuity, things like keeping the subject's position consistent across cuts or ensuring similar colors and lighting if you can.
Okay.
It's also about actively looking for opportunities while you're filming where a movement or an action could naturally bridge two shots.
Ah, so it's not just about fixing it in post-production, but actually setting yourself up for success right from the start.
Absolutely, that's a huge part of it. Another key element the guide highlights is the role of sound. Syncing your cuts or transitions with the music beat or a specific sound effect. That's a hallmark of incredibly popular viral reels.
I notice that so much, yeah. When the visual transition lands perfectly on a beat, it just feels incredibly satisfying. The guide mentions how apps often help visualize the audio track to make this timing easier, right?
Yes, that visual cue is really helpful, definitely. And a third core principle from the guide is color grading.
Okay.
Because even the most perfect visual transition will feel jarring if the color palette or the brightness shifts drastically between clips.
Right, yeah.
So using filters or subtle adjustments to harmonize the look across your footage creates this visual unity that makes the whole edit feel intentional.
Okay, so planning ahead, using sound intentionally, and keeping colors consistent, those are like the foundations. Got it. Now, let's get into the actual techniques the guide breaks down. What are the essentials it recommends mastering?
It starts with the most fundamental one, which is the jump cut.
Ah, the classic. Just cutting out the boring bits, basically.
Right. It's essential for keeping the energy high and removing dead space. But the key insight from the guide on making jump cuts smooth is maintaining camera stability and framing.
Okay.
So trimming the clips so the subject stays in roughly the same spot. It minimizes that visual jolt.
Oh, like that fitness example in the guide. Showing someone going through a series of exercises, cutting out the transitions between them, but they stay centered in the frame the whole time.
Exactly that. It creates this feeling of continuous action, even though time is actually condensed.
Yeah.
Then there are mass cuts.
Okay.
This technique links two different shots by aligning a similar visual element or a movement.
This is where that amazing Marco Collin example comes in, right? Where he drops a water bottle in one scene, and then in the next clip, the bottle lands directly into his hand somewhere else entirely.
Yes, that's a perfect example.
Mm.
It links two totally separate moments or locations through that consistent visual action. It creates a sense of, like, magic and keeps viewers hooked because they're trying to figure out the trick,
That's definitely scroll stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about using camera movement itself? How does that work for transitions?
Those are called motion-based transitions. So think about a whip pan, like a fast sideways movement or a fast tilt up or down or a quick zoom. You end one shot with a rapid camera movement, and you begin the next shot with the same rapid movement in the same direction. When you splice those together, that momentum carries the viewer seamlessly from one scene to the next. It almost makes the cut invisible.
Oh, that makes total sense. You're basically using the blur or the speed of the motion as the transition. The guide correctly points out you need to practice that to get the speed and direction consistent, though.
Consistency is absolutely key there, for sure. And then the guide touches on slightly more complex techniques like mask and overlay transitions.
That sounds a bit more intimidating.
They can be, yeah. But the guide notes that modern mobile editing apps are making them much more accessible than they used to be.
Okay, good.
It involves layering parts of shots or using shapes or objects to reveal the next scene. An example might be like a hand wiping across the lens to reveal the next clip.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. Or a graphic element sliding onto the screen that masks out the first scene and introduces the next one. The payoff for the effort here, in terms of unique visual flair, can be pretty significant.
So you really don't need to jump into like pro desktop software right away then. The guide lists several tools, right?
Absolutely not. Nope. You can start with Instagram's own native editor for basic trimming and splitting. That's perfect for quick edits and adding music directly.
And CapCut seems to be the big one, the go-to for many.
Yeah, the guide highlights CapCut as a really powerful and flexible free mobile app. It's popular for a reason. It has precise controls, lots of effects, and its auto beat sync feature for music is fantastic for those rhythmic edits we talked about.
Right.
Plus, there are tons of tutorials available specifically for it.
How about InShot? I see that one mentioned a lot too.
InShot is presented as a good balance, kind of between simplicity and control. It has intuitive controls for the vertical and square formats you need for reels and stories. It offers features like speed adjustments, smooth fades, and a very user-friendly drag-and-drop timeline that makes visualizing your edit pretty straightforward.
And for people wanting even more control, maybe moving beyond those.
Yeah, for that, the guide points to LumaFusion and VN Editor as more advanced mobile options. They offer things like multi-layer timelines, custom masking, even green screen capabilities.
Wow.
The learning curve is definitely steeper, but you can achieve very professional results right on your phone or tablet.
Okay, so we've got the techniques, we've got the tools. What are some practical tips the guide gives for actually putting this into practice and, maintaining quality?
A big one is to shoot more footage than you think you'll need.
Ah, the classic advice.
It really applies here. Always capture extra angles, backup takes, or just let actions run longer than you think. That gives you the raw material you need to actually find or create those seamless transition points. And you have options if you make a mistake.
That's smart. Build in a buffer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, paying attention to natural light and simple backgrounds. The guide emphasizes this helps maintain visual consistency between clips, which makes transitions much less noticeable. Distracting elements can really highlight an awkward cut.
Good point. And always editing for mobile first. That seems critical.
Crucial point.
Yeah.
The vast majority of Instagram viewing is on phones.
Yeah.
You must preview your edits on your phone screen, check how the crops look, and make sure you're using the correct vertical, 9.16 or square 1.1 aspect ratios.
Makes sense. And getting feedback is key too, right? Asking someone else.
Definitely. Share drafts with someone you trust. A fresh pair of eyes can easily spot a transition that doesn't quite feel right, or maybe colors that clash in a way you might have missed after staring at the edit for hours.
Totally happens. So the guide really does lay out a pretty simple process, doesn't it, when you break it down?
It does. Yeah, it breaks it down. Plan your story and potential transitions first. Then record your footage with those transitions in mind, like practicing those whip pans. Import everything. Carefully trim and align your clips. Then strategically add your chosen transitions. Apply consistent color grading. Sync everything up with your music or audio cues. Preview meticulously on your phone. Make tweaks based on feedback. And finally, share it and pay attention to how your audience responds. See what works.
It even walks through a real-world example like a product launch reel for a beauty brand, showing how combining match cuts, whip pans, and overlays created this smooth, engaging sequence. And apparently, it significantly boosted watch time and saves compared to just a standard edit.
Yeah, it's a great illustration of how these techniques, when you use them deliberately, aren't just tactical tricks. They're powerful ways to enhance your message and actually get concrete results.
So how do you make this level of polish a consistent part of your content creation? It sounds like it could take time.
Well, the guide really stresses practice and consistency.
Yeah.
Setting aside dedicated time each week, even if it's just a little bit to plan, film, and edit, is pretty essential. And don't be afraid to experiment with different transition styles to build your repertoire and keep your content fresh. Your unique combination of techniques can become part of your brand's signature look.
Yeah, building your own sort of collection of transition templates or preferred styles sounds like a good way to streamline things as you get more comfortable too.
It absolutely can. It speeds up the workflow and helps you maintain a consistent look and feel across your videos.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really feels like mastering these seamless edits on Instagram is like way more than just a technical skill.
It is, fundamentally, yeah. The guide makes it clear that it's tied into the core elements of effective communication online. Enhancing your storytelling, elevating the viewer's experience, and building a stronger, more professional brand identity on the platform.
And the benefits are tangible, right? Keeping viewers engaged longer, boosting key metrics like watch time, shares, saves, and genuinely helping your content stand out in what is a very crowded feed.
Exactly. And the key takeaway for getting started, which the guide really emphasizes, is just to start small. Don't feel overwhelmed.
Right.
Try just one or two techniques. Maybe perfect a simple jump cut first, or practice a specific motion transition, and just build your confidence from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Consistency and dedicated practice really are the path to making these smooth edits a natural part of your creative routine and eventually developing your own distinctive visual style.
For sure. Every well-executed cut is an opportunity to strengthen your message, make your mark on Instagram, and connect more effectively with the people you actually want to reach.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Given how crucial smooth edits are becoming for just holding attention and communicating online, consider this. Is mastering video editing becoming as fundamental a skill for making your mark in the digital world as, say, clear writing or speaking is in the physical one? What stands out to you from this deep dive?